In this video, we're going to look at how we can use graphs to solve unfamiliar equations. First of all, we're going to look at an equation that we know how to solve algebraically and how we can use a graph to solve the equation instead. So we're going to consider the equation 2x squared equals 3x plus 2. Now this is a quadratic, so algebraically we get everything on one side and make it equal to 0. So we get 2x squared minus 3x minus 2 equals 0. And then we factorize. And when we factorize, we have 2x at the front of one bracket, x at the front of the other bracket. Our numbers have to multiply to make minus 2. So they're going to be 1 and 2, but we have to make sure we get them the right way round. It's going to be plus 1 in that one and minus 2 in the second bracket, and that gives us answers of x equals minus a half and x equals 2. So algebraically, those are our solutions to this equation. Now we're going to look at how we can do this graphically. And we're going to look at one method in this video, and in the next video we're going to look at a second method for doing this. So method 1 for solving these is if we have an equation of the form f of x equals g of x, so that's some algebraic function equal to another algebraic function, doesn't matter what it is on either side, we draw the graphs of y equals f of x and y equals g of x. So that's y equals the left hand side and y equals the right hand side. And then we find the points of intersection. The x values of these points of intersections will be the solutions to the original equation. So for our example, we had the equation 2x squared equals 3x plus 2. In this case, f of x is 2x squared and g of x is 3x plus 2. So what we do is we first plot y equals 2x squared, and then we plot y equals 3x plus 2. So we can do this on our graphics calculator in the exam, and when we plot y equals 2x squared, we get this graph here. So this one here is y equals 2x squared. Now we need to plot the second of the equations, which was y equals 3x plus 2. And when we plot that on our graphics calculator, we get this result. And now we are looking for the points of intersection of these two graphs. So we have one intersection point there and one intersection point there, and we want the x values. So there we get an x value of 2, and there we get an x value of minus a half. So our answers are x equals 2 and x equals minus a half. We can use our graphics calculator to find those values exactly as well. Let's look at a second example now of a slightly different nature that we can't solve algebraically. So now we're going to look at the equation 2 to the power of x equals 4 minus x. And we do the same thing. F of x in this case is 2 to the power of x, and g of x in this case is 4 minus x. So what we do is we plot y equals 2 to the x, and then we plot y equals 4 minus x. When we plot the first one, y equals 2 to the x, we get this graph here. And then when we plot the second one, so that's y equals 2 to the x. When we plot the second one, which is y equals 4 minus x, we get this graph here. So we have y equals 2 to the x, and down here we have y equals 4 minus x. Once again, we look for the point of intersection, which in this case is here, and we look down. It's not as obvious in this one what that value is, so we would use the solve intersection function on our graphics calculator, and when we do that, we get the value x equals 1.386 and lots more decimal places. So our answer here would be x equals 1.39 to 2 decimal places. So that's how we use method number 1 for solving unfamiliar equations. We find the f of x and the g of x, so the left hand side and the right hand side of the equation, and we put y equals f of x, so y equals the left hand side, and y equals g of x, so y equals the right hand side. We plot both of those and then find the points of intersection, and the x coordinate of that point is our solution.